Okay, I'm glad I get to talk to you about this. We'll hear background noise because my wonderful family is all around me. I wanted to talk about the main four power emotions that I know of that are the ones that we generally think of as shameful or bad. We need to get rid of them. We need to stop feeling them. But on the way to raising our vibration to a higher level of thinking and of feeling, it's important to acknowledge those feelings and realize what they're there to teach us. So we go through this cycle, a natural cycle. Children go through it very quickly. You might tell them that they can't have a cookie or they can't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner because you've made this lovely eggplant parmesan or whatever it is. Well, they are angry. They get angry. And then they throw a tantrum. They get sad. They start to cry. And then after a while of not getting it, probably less than 90 seconds, they stop, get up, and go find something else to do. So the way that these emotions look for adults, it often takes us a lot longer to go through it, not only because we have bigger problems to deal with, but because we're trying to ignore these emotions. So anger is the first one that we usually get confronted by. And anger is a secondary emotion. You've probably heard that. It's our defense. Anger shows up when we are feeling like our boundaries are being crossed, or when we feel like we're disappointed, something's not happening the way we want it to, or we're afraid. So anger protects us. So anger is that cue to look around and go, wait a minute, why don't I feel safe here? And you can actually assess, am I safe? Am I not safe? Is something really going wrong here? And what should I do about it? Anger says, I don't like this. And so listen to anger, listen to it, because oftentimes it is telling you something useful. You can explain it to kids like this too, where it's like, you can feel angry about me telling you you can't have a cookie. That's okay. You can feel angry. You just can't be mean. You can be mad without being mean. And anger is such a high energy emotion because back in times when we lived in tribes or whatever, if there was something that was a danger that was threatening to you, that was crossing your boundaries, it could very well be life-threatening. You don't want to, anger is there it's such a high energy emotion because it gives you the power to fight off a lion so that your kids don't get eaten by a lion. Nowadays, we don't have that level of danger all the time, but we do have boundaries still, and we'd want to feel safe in our relationships. So we're allowed to feel anger. Let yourself feel anger. Acknowledge what is going on that you don't like, and then move into the next power emotion, which is sadness. Sadness is a mellowing emotion. You were told when you were young, don't cry. Don't be sad, don't cry, it's okay, you're okay. Well, it's okay also to acknowledge, I'm sad about this. I'm disappointed. The world isn't working out the way I want it to. This project, this situation, this day isn't working out the way that I want it to. And I'm sad about it. You do that after you've set the boundaries of safety with anger. You move through anger to set up those safe boundaries so that then you're safe to feel the sadness and the disappointment. The next emotion that you feel or that you tap into, the power emotion that we're told is a bad thing, is fear. And fear is not so much, it's not about cowering and avoiding things. Fear, when we use it properly, just like anger is not about getting revenge or being mean to people. Fear is our instinct to tell us what our options are. First of all, you can ask, what got me into this situation in the first place, so that you can learn from it. Secondly, you start asking, what do I do about it now? And fear is your intuition. That's the flip side of, so each one of these has a flip side. And I imagine them as animals. Anger is a dragon because he's powerful. He's got lots of energy, lots of fearsome protecting ability. And he's got a little name tag on a collar because he's my pet. He's under my control. When I listen to him, if I don't listen to him, if I tell him, stop it, go away, eventually he's going to break out and do something rash and drastic that's going to hurt people. So I recognize him, I use him, I listen to him. He's an advisor, not a boss to me. So, but the other side of his name tag is empowerment. Then sadness, the other side of sadness is a teddy bear. And he has a watering can that he pours down over you and just washes away the sharp edges of the sadness and the disappointment. And sadness's name tag on the other side says peace. Fear is an owl that sits on your shoulder. It can see all around it. It's got huge eyes and it's a wise old owl. Well, the other side of fear's name tag says intuition. There's one more that's possibly my favorite because it relieves me when I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And it is shame. Shame is a sheepdog. Now there's some debate about the semantics of shame and guilt and what the words mean. And I understand that what most people call guilt is a good, healthy thing. And what most people call shame is unhealthy and hindering in self-growth. But what I'm terming shame right now, I'm calling it shame just because shame sounds better as a sheepdog. And shame helps you to know whether you are on the right path or not, whether you're in line with your moral values. Shame has a name tag also, and on the flip side of shame, it is conscience. So you ask your conscience, after you go through these earlier three emotions, you ask your conscience, are the options that I'm thinking of, that Fear Owl is giving me, that my intuition is giving me, are they in line with my moral code? So instead of like shouting at the kid and spanking them and sending them to their room, if you're a parent, you may ask, well, what's in line with my moral code in this situation? And it might be more like, no, sorry, you don't get a peanut butter sandwich. And then you just let them cry. And then they get up and go away pretty soon and go find something fun to do. If it's something at work, something that you're being told to do or tempted to do, maybe that's underhanded or whatever, you can ask yourself, and yeah, you can ask yourself, is this in line with my moral code? And Shame the sheepdog will tell you yes or no. And if it's not, then don't do it. And if it is, then go for it. If it is in line with it and it won't hurt anybody, then go for it. Now, and that's in all situations, not doing something bad at work. Sometimes when we're over anxious, that happens when our anger dragon has been pushed down and told to sit down, be quiet, don't speak your piece, don't protect me, don't set up boundaries, don't uphold our boundaries, you're not worthy of holding up those boundaries or whatever. And so when anger dragon is told to be quiet enough, sometimes he just will, but then Fear Owl takes over. And Fear Owl tries to fly around and protect the person, but it is not strong enough. Fear Owl is just a fluffy, feathered, smart person. He's not a big, scaly, fire-breathing protector. So that's when we get anxiety, is when we don't uphold our boundaries. We don't listen to our anger, and we don't tap into the strength that can be found in anger to set up our boundaries. So to get rid of anxiety, what you would do is tap into your anger dragon or your empowerment and just say, what am I afraid of? And really listen to your anger dragon. He's there to tell you when your boundaries are being crossed or when you're in danger. And he can help you to set up boundaries. He can also burn contracts, burn ideas, burn things that you're sad or mad about. Like, I'm really disappointed that this person in my life didn't complete this thing that they said that they would. I feel really angry that they're not honoring me the way that I feel like I should be honored. And so you can tap into anger dragon and literally imagine him burning up those thoughts. Imagine pulling those thoughts out of your head and setting them on paper and handing them to the dragon and just letting him burn them up. And it really is a good way to release that over energy of anger when you're really disappointed. Sadness, if you're feeling overly sad, then you need to recognize, what am I disappointed about? And find out, and then tap into your anger dragon. Are you protected? Are you safe enough? Are you upholding your boundaries? And if not, set some up and start upholding them. Get a team behind you, get some friends, get your family behind you to help uphold those boundaries. Then move to fear owl and see, what are my options? What can I do? And then check in with shame dog and make sure that the options that you're looking through are in line with your moral code, and pick your best one and go with it. If you're feeling overly shamed, then shame dog might have some misconceptions about what is right and what is wrong. If you feel like you are wrong to have needs or to satisfy your own needs, to take care of your own needs, if you're feeling shame about that, then shame dog needs to be re-educated. And you can imagine, close your eyes and imagine an empty scroll of paper, and think about that feeling of shame that you feel maybe it could be when you get an answer wrong in a math quiz or something. It could be when someone says no to you because they say, no, I don't want to go out to a movie or something like that, and it feels shameful to you. That's not shameful. They don't want to go, or they can't go, or whatever. No problem. It doesn't change your worth. So you tap into that feeling, and wherever you feel it in your body, you take that empty scroll and you hold it up against that spot. And you imagine that empty scroll being filled up with the story or the words of that misconception that you should be ashamed because you asked them to go out and do something fun with you and they couldn't go. They said no. And then you give that scroll to anger dragon and you burn it.
Mom, can you give me water to pour in this?
No. So these are the four, my favorite energy emotions, high energy emotions that we can use for our good and to lift us to a new level of healthiness, and then move on up from there. Then you can be happy.